blockchain is often considered one of the most inventive and promising technologies of our generation. But attempting to figure out how the blockchain works is like trying to figure out how the universe works. It's perplexing. That is precisely why we will try and break it down to the most important parts. So, what is blockchain, and how does it work? Hey, and welcome to another amazing crypto video. In today's video, we'll look at blockchain technology and some of its most well-known uses. We'll also learn about blockchain and how integrating this new technology's capabilities into corporate goals might open up previously unachievable prospects. But first, before we go on, a sub to the channel would be very appreciated. Comment, share the video, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the video. So, let's get into it. So, what exactly is blockchain? Well, it can be thought of as a type of database, specifically a distributed database. The primary distinctions are the types of data it saves, how it stores it, who has access to it, and the fact that data on a blockchain cannot be changed or destroyed. It contains a variety of information, for example, information concerning the nature of the blockchain which maintains the Bitcoin transactions. So here are some of the basics. Bitcoin transactions are saved in blocks, rather than in arbitrary folders as in a traditional database. Then, new transactions are collected together in these so-called blocks as they occur. These blocks can only hold a certain number of transactions before being chained onto the preceding block and added to the long chain of transactions, thus the term blockchain. From the first transaction in the first block to the final transaction in the most recent block, this provides a chronological history of transactions, similar to a ledger. The blockchain stores these blocks in a way that allows us to see a complete record of Bitcoin transactions. Bitcoin's blockchain, like a database, relies on a network of computers to function. Bitcoin's blockchain, like distributed databases, is not stored in a single location. Instead, it's spread over a number of machines and places. This way, even if one computer fails, the data, the ledger of transactions, is kept alive by a large number of other servers or computers. The computers that run traditional databases are operated by governments or organizations, but Bitcoin relies on ordinary people with personal computers. Those who want to run the blockchain as a node must first acquire Bitcoin's open-source software as well as the entire, or partial, history of Bitcoin transactions. Transactions here cannot be modified or deleted, and this is another important distinction between databases and the blockchain. Unlike databases, Bitcoin transactions are irreversible. In this way, Bitcoin's blockchain is similar to a database that can only be added to, with no transactions being changed or erased. So, what makes Bitcoin so unique if blockchain is just another database? And how does such a database keep its data up to date? How can it be secure if anyone may start a node and participate? Well, this is where Bitcoin really shines. While the core notion of Bitcoin's blockchain is straightforward, it contains several characteristics that make it a significant advancement in computer science. Until Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, an issue in computer science known as the Byzantine generals problem had never been completely addressed. During a NASA-sponsored computer science project in 1978, Robert Shostak discovered and defined the problem. In their study, scholars Leslie Lamport, Robert Shostak, and Marshall Pease attempted to solve the problem. Imagine multiple divisions of the Byzantine army positioned outside an enemy city, each division commanded by its own commander. Only messengers allow the generals to interact with one another. They must agree on a single plan of attack after observing the enemy. Some of the messengers, on the other hand, may be traitors who are attempting to hinder the loyal generals from reaching an accord. So, how do the generals make sure they're all on the same page and that the information they've gotten is correct? If they don't work together, the war could be lost. Imagine this: instead of generals, it's database nodes. So, how can a database develop a consensus on the right set of data if certain nodes in the database malfunction and start providing erroneous information to the others? Let's say some of the computers are reporting 12:30 p.m., while others are reporting 12:30 a.m. What algorithm would those computers use to figure out which group is correct? While a centralized database controlled by a government or organization may lack a remedy to such an issue, a distributed database like a blockchain, which is run by random individuals across the internet, may solve this with ease. That's where Satoshi Nakamoto created a consensus mechanism known as proof of work to tackle this problem. But what is a consensus mechanism, and how does it work? It's basically a technology that allows nodes in a distributed computer system to agree on the correct set of data. Simply put, it is a set of norms that permits everyone to agree on what is correct and incorrect. This ensures the security of blockchain networks by allowing participants to verify the legitimacy of data, in this case, the transactions, without having to rely on one another. To overcome the Byzantine problem, which incorporates the Bitcoin keyword, mining, Nakamoto created the consensus technique called proof of work, POW. Proof of work refers to the mechanism through which Bitcoin nodes compete for the opportunity to add a new block of transactions to the blockchain. The goal of the competition is to solve a difficult challenge before the other nodes do. This problem is extremely difficult to solve, but once completed, it is easily verifiable by the other nodes. As a result, the node must supply an answer, often known as a proof, that everyone else can simply verify whether or not it is correct. Nathaniel Popper's book, Digital Gold, contains one of the better metaphors that have tried to explain the complex puzzles nodes solve. Multiplying 2,903 and 3,571 with a piece of paper and pencil is rather easy, but figuring out what two numbers can be multiplied together to produce 10,366,613 is much, much tougher. In this instance, the node must figure out what two integers multiplied together equal 10,366,613 by guessing random numbers until the correct answer is discovered. The node then sends the answer, which is 2,903 and 3,571, to other nodes, which can quickly multiply the numbers and check that they are valid. The first person to solve the puzzle receives the privilege of broadcasting the block of transactions to the other nodes. This ensures that the right to add new transactions to the ledger is only granted to those who have put in enough effort and computer capacity. When the nodes get a new block, they undertake an audit of earlier transactions to confirm that the new transactions tally up correctly and the correct amount of Bitcoin is still on the ledger. The new block is then linked to the prior block and forever recorded to the blockchain after all nodes verify that the transactions in the new block make sense in comparison to the previous ledger entries. The node that solves the problem receives Bitcoin as a reward. This is referred to as mining, because the computer work required by a node to obtain the Bitcoin reward can be thought of as the digital equivalent of the physical labor required for gold mining. Because adding a new block to the chain requires so much processing power, it's hard to try to add fraudulent transactions like adding more Bitcoin to one's wallet. If someone decided to try this, they would need to control more than half of all Bitcoin nodes and computing power in order to add a new block, which would then be accepted and verified by the majority of nodes. Given the size of Bitcoin's blockchain today, the initial expense of the computer equipment required, let alone the energy cost of running it all, would be essentially impossible for any party or even government to achieve. Even if it were effective, people would discover that there is a flaw in the system and sell their holdings, depreciating the currency they were attempting to forge. As a result, the Byzantine problem is successfully solved by the proof of work mechanism because nodes can trust that new transactions, data on the blockchain, are not fraudulent without having to trust or know each other. Bitcoin's blockchain will stay Byzantine fault-tolerant for as long as people feel Bitcoin has value because there is an economic incentive to participate rather than attack it via Bitcoin incentives. Because of these, an irreversible record of economic transactions is created, which is governed by the collective of its users rather than any firm, government, or group. Now, how does this help businesses? Well, it eliminates the expense of third parties, so data and payments are processed significantly more quickly, and it's a lot easier to maintain databases between companies now. On a big scale, data protection and security are increased. The way business functions will change and improve as a result of blockchain technology, but that isn't all. It will also revolutionize millions of people's lives by allowing them to save and send money to one another safely. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for your time and attention. What do you think of blockchain technology? Comment below. Let's engage. Also, if you are interested in more videos like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. Goodbye. See you in the next video.